Is there another Bitcoin crash coming? Are we going to see 20k, 14k, or even as low as 10k? In this video, I'm going to dive into the charts, take a look at what's going on, and hopefully debunk some of the stuff that you're hearing out there across Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and various other social medias. Guys, as we get into it, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. Really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all that said, done out of the way, let's actually jump down into the charts, take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin. Okay guys, so as usual, in the last few videos that we've been doing, have really been focusing in on Bitcoin. This is obviously the weekly chart across the various different timestamps. Basically, Bitstamp all the way back to 2011, right? So we can see the 2013 bull run, the 2017 bull run, and obviously the current bull run. The Gaussian channel running through here, obviously, and if we close inside it, that heads into a bear market, as history has indicated. There's been a few instances where we've come very, very close, and obviously what we've seen here is basically bouncing off of it and surviving for another week. Okay, I went through that this morning, so I'm not going to repeat too much, but I'll just highlight this really briefly for you guys. We wicked into it in last week, and we basically avoided the closed candle inside. Closing inside the Gaussian channel basically is kind of a signal to say that we are going bear market. Okay, so that hasn't happened. Now I do expect to pull back into this Gaussian channel during the week, but as long as we do not close inside here this week, we should be good. So we're looking at closing above this Gaussian channel by Sunday. Okay, so we want to get some kind of rise up with Bitcoin during the course of the week. Okay, now the stochastic on the weekly chart is of course heading to the oversold area, so we obviously take note of that as well. Now the main reason for this video is not to talk about where Bitcoin's currently sits right now, but to talk about whether or not Bitcoin is going to have another pullback of significance, to the point where, I see various different influencers, whether that's on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, etc., saying that, we're in a bear market and we're going to go down to, as the lowest I've seen is 10K. 14K is another one that I've seen. 20K narrative is back out again. Every time there's a pullback, you're kind of going down into the same kind of narrative over and over again, right? The bears want to short Bitcoin. They want to use the leverage. They want to pull it down. That isn't happening here. There's definitely a level of manipulation going on with Bitcoin. I think we have to understand that. You don't just hit $67,000 exactly to the cent, to the penny, and then have a pullback, only to go up to $59,000 to the penny and then have another pullback, right? Those are some clear manipulations. Obviously, you had a whale sell $188 million worth of Bitcoin. That narrative has gone out there as well, etc. Right? So lots of things that are going on in the space, whether that's Evergrande and things that are going on there. Now, obviously, lots of stuff going on with China and the banks that are now basically can actually have access to more funds, so their reserves that they actually hold in a bank can be lower, therefore that they can actually lend out more money, and as a result of that, that means that the whole Evergrande thing becomes a little bit easier. So I do anticipate the whole Evergrande piece is going to disappear because eventually will just become noise in the background. So we can kind of isolate some of those things and some of those things that are kind of going on. But in order to think about potentially pulling down into those low areas, I think there's a lot of misguided people out there not really truly understanding the bull run or bear market, and there's a lot of new people, so I think it's important that we kind of cover this off, right? If you go down to lower than I think it's like $45,000, that effectively brings in a bear market. Now a bear market, guys, is something that is going to last a very significant portion of time. It isn't quick. Okay, so here we can see Bitcoin reached a peak in December of 2017. We didn't actually start to gain value of significance until 2019. Okay, that is a total of 476 days. It's a year and a half, right? And it's important that we acknowledge that, okay? Basically, you can see here we're pulling right the way down. We have this bear market. This is a bear market, and it lasts for about a year and a half. And the same thing can be said here, except it was actually a little bit longer. Okay, we can see here we didn't actually start to get value added for over 680 days back in 2013 through 14, right? So we didn't actually start to really get significant runs with Bitcoin until 2015, right? So we're running quite a long period of time, practically 2 years at that point, in a bear market, which is often referred to as a crypto winter, okay? Because you don't go up, you only seem to go sideways and down. Now, obviously, you get the occasional bounce, but it's always a lower high, okay, and you go down. Not what we were experiencing in the bull run where we're setting all-time highs, right? And so it's important that we understand that we don't necessarily want a bear market to come if we haven't necessarily had that kind of blow off top, because you need those gains to enable you to really truly take advantage of that kind of 18 months to 2 year bear market cycle where you can actually accumulate heavy positions. Okay, so it's important that we understand that. So slipping down below 45k would basically effectively trigger that bear market scenario, right? So we want to make sure that that doesn't happen until we've had that significant blow off top, right? Which I do think is coming. Now, I know lots of people are saying there's a lengthening, or there's a narrative of saying there's a super cycle, a lengthier kind of time frame. Now, I've obviously dissected the time frames in here, right? Now, obviously, we can assume that yes, between the bull run between 2000, I think it was like 2011 through to 2017 here is effectively a 735-day run. We then obviously went up to a 1,470-day run. Okay, peak to peak, this is right. Okay, so it's important that we do acknowledge that, yeah, sure, we have had that kind of lengthier kind of cycle. There's no guarantee that that is going to continue, because basically there's a limited subset of data here at the very beginning of Bitcoin's life cycle. It's hard to say for sure. Now, really what we're waiting for is the end of this particular bull run and to go into the next one, because this then actually gives us some pretty concrete kind of patterns in data that we can then reference, right? So we can start to say there's a trend here after we get a little bit more data. So for now, we obviously have that 1,470, which I mimicked over here, which would give us about the 20th of December. I still think we're going to go longer than that, okay? So I would think that we're probably going to come a little bit longer. I think January would be a really good example, but there's no guarantee of that. That would basically be 1,512 days, right? Again, if we're going to extend, then those are the things you're looking at. So for the scenario we're thinking that we're going into a bear market, I can't see that right now. Okay, I cannot see us slipping down into those lower ranges of whether that's $20,000, $14,000, $10,000. Not just yet. We need to see that blow off top. Now, I am a believer that we are going to see significant loss in value, okay? If we were to actually go down to some of these low areas that people are calling out right now, and we were to go back and pull into that kind of $20,000 range, which is the common narrative that's been spoke about a lot, that's a 60% drop, okay? You can see how low we'd be right through the Gaussian channel. Now, in terms of time that kind of thing takes, just give you a bit of perspective on it. We are right on top of the Gaussian channel right now, as we had been previously. To even go below it, it took nearly 200 days. Okay, so that's still a significant portion of time to even get down to this low point. Now, if you were to go down to $14,000, okay, you're going all the way down to this lower point here where you're losing 71% of your value. Now, if you were to go down again, into that $10,000 range, which I think is hopium for many people who may have missed the boat, that's about 80% drop, right? 79.6% drop from the current price. That's a significant drop. That's the kind of bear market drop that you would expect. If we were going in a bear market right now, I'd say that seems like a pretty plausible target to be aiming for, right? $10,000. It seems like a pretty good area to be aiming for in a bear market low. Okay, because we do lose over 80% in each of these bear market scenarios that we've had in the past, right? So it's important that we do acknowledge what's possible and what's not. Now, I do think, though, that we are likely to get that blast at the top first, okay? And historically speaking, in the data, we have seen a pullback of significance, about 30 or so percent, I think this is. Let me just check. These are pretty common levels to kind of keep going back, yeah. I actually choose the right one. Let's get the right tool for the job. As they say. Let's go ahead and put this on here. So yeah, we've 39%. We'll call it 38.1. Okay, so we've significant pullbacks. Now, this is not too uncommon because we had something similar in 2017 before we went parabolic here. We dropped from here down to here, which was 40%, okay, before we had that run to the upside. And again, if we actually take a look back at 2013, we can see something similar just in here. Now I'm going to take it from the top wick here down here it's 37%. Okay, so it's important that we acknowledge what's happened right now is not dissimilar to what's happened in 2017, nor is it dissimilar to what's happened in 2013 before we've had significant rallies to the upside. Now, when we actually dissect that from the low point to the blast off the top, the actual peak, yeah, it's a 578% run just there in 2017. And if we do the same thing here from the low end of that pullback through to the blow off top, it was 1,248%, right? So even if we were to be modest and just aim for a reasonable target on this thing, let's actually run that on here, grab that low point that we've just set, and let's, see $100,000 at this point would be approximately 139%. Okay, I think we should be aiming for a nice, comfortable range in my target of 187K, should be approximately 350%. Actually, it's probably 340, somewhere in that range. Okay, I can't exactly get it on the nose about there. Okay, so about 346%. That is actually more plausible than going down 80% at this point, based on the historical data here. Okay, so it's important that we acknowledge that, we've had 1,248%. Push up from this pullback. We had a 500% move, and I am expecting diminished returns because that's what kind of happens here with Bitcoin, diminished returns over time. We'd see another 346%. Now, if we actually take this bull run up to that point, and we said that actually came in, that would be about 4,700% gains in the bull run, lower than that of the previous year, and that was lower than the year prior to that as well. Again, this is the expectation when it comes to Bitcoin. Okay, so again, nothing unusual about this. This is pretty standard stuff in the crypto space, right? So I think it's important that we acknowledge, whether a bear market right now is actually plausible. I mean, it's definitely possible, but it's whether it's probable. And I don't think it is probable. It's definitely possible, but not probable. I think there's a higher chance of a bigger push to the upside. Now, when we jump into the smaller time frames, actually what I'll do is I'll turn this one off and actually go over to my Binance data here. Okay, when we actually go into Bitcoin here on the hourly, we can obviously see all the various different things that have been going on, the big push to the upside, the potential of a head and shoulder pattern, guys, I don't think is going to be playing out. We obviously have the ABC down, and we're tracking for an ABC up. Now, there is some volatility going on right now that is quite difficult to see. Okay, we can see this right here, so we can take a look, right? Inside this gap right here, we are basically finding upper resistance at 49,600, sorry. And as we're trying to get up past this, but it's not really happening. We are overbought on that stochastic RSI. I think we're going to push up and then do expect ourselves to pull back, right? And like I said previously, I do expect us to pull into the Gaussian channel very briefly. We'll get that done, and then once we're kind of pushed past there, we should be expecting to form a bigger ABC move to the upside overall. Okay, and again, that would be then looking for corrective action to the upside. Now, it is going to take some time. I don't expect this to kind of play out, instantaneously. I would like to see new all-time highs in December, and we'll watch out for that one to see if the technicals actually do line up for it. But next year in 2022, things are definitely lining up quite nicely. Now, we can also see some narratives in the news also forming, right? We do have, Ethereum on its way to 20K question mark. Why this could happen in 2022. We can see narratives changing. Bitcoin is a better reserve than gold. We have, hackers and things like that going on. But basically here, basically we have the UK senior trainee here. Basically explains that his encounter with Bitcoin and predicts a parabolic rise in the coming months. The narrative is forming around Bitcoin once again to get the price driven up. It won't be long before the mainstream media start to get wind of everything that's going on as well, and start to also promote Bitcoin to reach some fantastic high numbers, right? Some numbers that are probably not achievable, whether that's 500,000, 400,000, 300,000. 250,000. I don't think they are likely to occur in this particular bull run. Likewise, I don't think this head and shoulder pattern is going to play out either. But again, even if this was to play out, we are still going to rise up on this right hand shoulder before even going down lower. Okay, and then we'll be pulling back at a later stage. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think we are more than likely going to be pushing up to the upside in a nice, strong way. We take a look at this on a daily, and again, we can see the progress that Bitcoin has made so far on the journey and where we expect things to finally land with this particular protocol. So overall, I do expect Bitcoin to perform well, and the narrative forming around a 20K 14K, 10K Bitcoin isn't something that I can see, nor can it stack up when we actually dive into the technicals in any particular strong way. A loss of value, I do understand. I can see when the bear market comes, Bitcoin dropping 80% of its value. I do think the institutions that have been stacking up Bitcoin are going to drop it on the market. So you want to be ahead of the curve with that thinking. So there's no harm in understanding why Bitcoin is going to pull back, how it pullbacks. And if you are invested and you do want to get out of the market of Bitcoin, you've got to start to plan about how you're going to do it. So guys, I am going to leave the video there. If you want to know more about what's going on, then join us on Discord, join us on Patreon, etc. And we do talk quite a bit around, various different patterns and things that are forming, and obviously go through technical analysis with you guys. So do check it out if that is of interest to you. If you found this useful, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.